Today on WTF, we're showcasing a brand new recipe for a keto biscuit and using it in a delicious keto breakfast sandwich. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we help you transform food in your kitchen. I'm Janie.
And I'm Hannah.
And today on WTF, we're talking all about how do you make a delicious keto biscuit, and then of course we made a breakfast sandwich to go along with it. So remember, if you like the content on this channel, subscribe and stick around for our weekly giveaway, which will be the ingredients that you see here today in order to make this keto biscuit. Now, when we started thinking about biscuit, because bread is always a constant request for people who are on a keto diet, you want volume, you want a tender crumb, you want like a nice outer coating. So Hannah set about developing this recipe, which we're going to kind of walk you through right now, that has all those characteristics. So she's going to tell you about how we managed to achieve that. Hannah, what are the first steps into having a great keto biscuit?
Yeah, so we're really focusing on two things here in making our biscuits today, and one of that is rise, and also focusing on the crumb and the overall texture of the biscuit itself, because we know in keto recipes it can be kind of hard to replicate those things. Mm-hmm. So if we just want to jump into the demo, I can go through, talk about some ingredients.
Yep, absolutely.
Great. So first things first, we're going to be using almond flour, which is what we use as the base for a lot of our keto recipes here. And we are just going to go ahead and dump that in. And then to start off with, there are ingredients that are really going to help us with that crumb and the overall texture. Starting off, we have Expandex, which is a modified starch, and this is going to help with moisture retention as well as just giving it a softer crumb overall. Yep.
And if you're gluten-free, you know that Expandex has been a really popular ingredient in gluten-free recipes, and we're really seeing that carry over into keto as well.
Yes. And our next is we have our gluten-free gluten replacement, and this is a modified cellulose, and this is also going to be helping us with the structure again and kind of mimicking what gluten would be doing. And lastly, we have a little bit of xanthan gum. This is going to thicken a little bit, also help with the crumb. I'm being a little bit repetitive right now, and we really tested this to figure out what usage you want, because just a little bit higher or a little bit lower with xanthan really makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. So we are using this at 0.3% based on the flour weight. Mm-hmm.
So this is an ingredient where if you look at our recipes on our blog, link in the description below, you'll see that we'll provide all the weights of all the ingredients as well as the volumetrics, and you might see Hannah have up there a quarter or an eighth of a teaspoon or whatever. However, for this ingredient, I think when you did it, you said, oh, just like a tiny bit more made it not as tasty.
Yes.
Yeah, so we recommend for this recipe, follow the weights and not go by volume.
Yes, helpful tip. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, we are going to be using two separate baking powders. And why we're doing this is we have our regular baking powder, and this is going to start giving our dough some volume before it even goes in the oven. It's going to be starting to create those air bubbles. And then we are also going to be using the I'm Free baking powder, and what that's going to be doing is it's heat activated, so it's going to kind of give the dough this second rise and create a little bit more volume than you'd see without using it. Mm-hmm. So we have those in equal parts, and then we're just going to go ahead and start mixing this up.
So I know, like this particular recipe, it has a lot of ingredients in it, and each ingredient is essentially acting as like a building block, right? If you think about like Legos, you're kind of just stacking one on top of each other, and they're really great together because once you have that rise, the xanthan and the I'm Free gluten replacement, those are going to start helping you lock that in. So it's really important. I know sometimes people are like, can I leave things out? Can I substitute? For this particular recipe, because we are working on getting as much volume as possible, we don't recommend doing any substitutions or omissions from this particular recipe.
Yes, I went through, as Janie can attest, I went through many recipes to reach this one, and testing just one ingredient at a time, so it took a bit to get here, but this is a really great recipe, and
Yeah,
excited for
really
you to try it out.
Mm-hmm.
So next we're going to be adding in our buttermilk, just for that classic buttermilk biscuit flavor.
Mm-hmm.
It really adds some depth.
And I believe, what was it? Is it the acid in the buttermilk also interacts with the baking powder to give more rise as well? I believe that's true. If it's not, don't, you know, I'm doing this from memory, so if it's not true, you know, like, let me know, but don't ding me on it.
Yeah. So maybe a third rise, who knows? And then we are going to be adding in some cold cubed butter as well, and you can do this by hand, but I do find a food, or our KitchenAid really helps out. Right, and our very last ingredient, so I whipped up these egg whites a little bit earlier, but you're just going to want to whip up some egg whites until they're at a stiff peak, and this is also going to be helping us with just adding a little bit of volume. All right, and I wouldn't overmix your dough just until it's combined, and then you're going to be all good. All right, and let us just reset for a sec, and then we can show you how we're going to bake these.
Cool, we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back, and we're about to dish up these biscuit dough. But before we do that, I wanted to quickly take a moment to talk about this week's giveaway. And this week's giveaway will be the ingredients that you see here in order to make the keto biscuit. And to enter to win, leave in the comments below another keto recipe that you like to see us tackle in the future. All right, so I see here you have some big ring molds. Hannah,
Yes.
What are those for?
So we're going to be cooking our dough in these ring molds, and what I found is without the ring molds, the dough really doesn't have quite enough structure to lift it up. So they kind of end up spreading out and just getting a bit too flat for our liking. So I found that these ring molds, I believe these are about 2.5 inches, really, one, give a great size, but they're also helping it give a little bit more lift, and we're getting a bit more height when they come out of the oven, which is great. So I would definitely recommend some ring molds. And we are just going to go ahead, we're going to split our batter dough up evenly and just pop these right into the ring molds, and then you're going to want to smooth it down.
Cool. And I'm sure someone's out there wondering, do you have the net carb amounts on any of these?
I do, and it will be linked online, but I believe it is somewhere between 3 and 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, you know, we like these big ones because right now we're making breakfast sandwiches. We want to make sure they're big enough to hold a patty and some other dressings. However, we find that these biscuits are delicious on their own as well. So you can make them any size you will like, and you know, just lather them in butter. Enjoy as is if you want, like smaller, bigger, whatever.
All right, and we're really just gonna smush these down a bit, and then we are going to be brushing these with our egg whites. And this just gives nice browning, helps smooth down the crust that's gonna form.
Okay, and you don't need to like worry about making it like perfectly smooth or anything, right?
No, yeah, just whatever you'd like to do. And once these are covered in egg whites, we are going to be popping these into an oven at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes until they're nice and golden brown, and a toothpick comes out clean if you just want to make sure. And then let them just rest a little bit in the ring molds, and then they come out really easy. And oh, another note, just make sure you grease the inside of your ring molds. Just make your life a little easier.
Yeah,
Alright.
so, you know, this biscuit is delicious on its own. And I'm just going to break into this one right here. So this one just got baked, and you can kind of see how beautiful it is. And I'm going to break into it right now. And you can kind of see it has a great crumb texture. It's soft. I'm going to put this down right now for a second. If I can chew. So it's soft, it's got that tender crumb, it has like the rise, it has a really great mouthfeel. it doesn't feel, it tastes like a delicious biscuit. I don't think that you can really tell that this is gluten-free and, or even keto, but it's really tasty. I really, really love the flavor on this biscuit, and it tastes amazing. However, I could eat this by itself, but we did want to make a breakfast sandwich out of it, and we wanted to do something a little bit different. So Hannah, can you talk a little bit about what's on this sandwich right here?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm eating another bite of this.
Of course, I went the keto route with all of this. So starting off, we pulled back our bacon jam that we have up on the blog. So we have that spread on, as well as a mustard aioli. And then to go along with that, we made a sage pork sausage with a fried egg, some mozzarella cheese, pickled shallots. It's savory, delicious, everything you're looking for in a breakfast sandwich.
Yes, this sandwich is super tasty, and so is this bacon jam. If you're like, what's bacon jam? It's exactly how it sounds.
Yep, bacon and jam, you really can't go wrong.
It's so good. Like, the jam is amazing. So give these recipes a go. We hope you enjoy them. Let us know what you think. Enter to win the giveaway. And until next week, from here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen, I'm Janie.
And I'm Hannah.